Congressman Chip Roy is with us right now. Big game coming up in Texas. The Fighting Texas A&M Aggies going on the road against your Texas Longhorns. I believe you are a split family. Who are the kids rooting for? And I'm sure it's going to be an interesting Thanksgiving given the return of a huge rivalry with the greatest season in modern Texas A&M history on the line here.
Yeah, no question. Great to be on, Clay. Certainly great to have the rivalry game back. It was a long time not having it for the state of Texas. You rightly point out my wife is an Aggie. Look, my kids are very much in the A&M direction. So we'll be at the game in Austin. We'll be there at UT. And look, I think this is going to boil down to who wants it more. I mean, these games turn into sort of 50-50 games no matter what. And in this case, you've got an undefeated A&M who, if they win, they know they're in the SEC championship game. They know they're in the driver's seat heading into the playoffs. You got a UT that doesn't want to lose at home, has had a really good record at home now for a while. I think we've had like one loss in the last 3 seasons or whatever at home. And, and you've got a situation as to whether the offensive line at Texas is going to do what they need to do to give Arch time and then see who wants it more. I think that's what it boils down to.
You're running for attorney general in Texas. We'll get into that in a sec because you guys have an early primary in March. Do you have an official take on, I'm going to be on an airplane later, 90% of people are driving, 10% flying. This is the busiest travel day of the year. You travel a lot because you've had to go back and forth between D.C. and Texas a ton over the past several years. What is your perspective on reclining seats?
I mean, man, talk about the important questions. Look, I got to tell you, when I'm sitting there in a smashed up seat and somebody reclines in front of me, yeah, it definitely elevates the blood pressure. But
you get my vote.
Look,
you get my vote. That's the right answer. That's the right answer here. I can't vote in the Texas Attorney General race. I'm not a Democrat. If I were, I'd probably find a way to vote. But if I were in Texas, you would have just gotten my vote with your take on reclining seats. How is the campaign going, and what is the overall vibe you would say that you see as you go around campaigning all over Texas?
Look, right now what we've got are people in Texas who are just deeply thankful that President Trump has done the main thing that he campaigned on, which was securing the border of the United States. I cannot tell you how important that is to the people of Texas and what that's meant for sanity and what we're dealing with in South Texas and ranches and fentanyl pouring in and the danger it posed to our communities. And everybody's feeling that nationwide. Of course, everybody's talking about affordability, and that is a major issue. And we're talking about it. We're campaigning on it. And obviously, I'm going out in Texas and I'm talking about the Sharia law and the extent to which there's the Islamification of Texas and the borders and the crime on the streets. But affordability is a major issue, as I'm still a member of Congress. And the president's doing a lot of great work there. I had a long meeting with the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, last Friday. We talked about a number of issues, one of which was affordability. And everybody gets we need to deal with healthcare issues, housing costs, and getting grocery prices down. But part of it's a little bit of patience. Now, Clay, you and I are getting old, so we're old enough to remember the Reagan era. And, he came in 1981, and it took a little while to unwind the damage of the Carter years.
Yep.
We're 9-10 months in, right? And the president, we passed the big, beautiful bill. We've cut taxes. We're deregulating. We're strengthening our military. We're getting sanity back. We got a little patience. We got to head into the midterms and make sure we deliver for the country, for people who are concerned about, and I am too. Like, I don't like going and seeing $6, $7 ground beef. Like, things are expensive and everybody knows it, but we're unwinding that. The overall inflation numbers trending in the right direction. We've got to do our part to grow the economy, cut spending, get health care in the right place, and we're taking the right steps, but we got to make sure that we get out and explain to the American people that we're delivering for them on the things they care about.
That's an important point because I started off the show talking about it. Economy, border, crime. Trump delivered on the border. He's delivered on crime in a substantial way. You talked about the impact of the border in Texas. But on the economy, I talked specifically about this. Jimmy Carter, it took a while for people to get over the awful inflation of the Carter era. And in fact, if people out there, I've studied it. We were young, but if you look, it took until about 1984 when Reagan came out and squashed 49 out of 50 states, every state but Minnesota. Everybody said, you know what? Things are getting fixed. It might not be the case, unfortunately, that everybody can see how much work Trump has done by next year. And you know this, Congressman, one of the challenges is telling people something that they haven't seen yet can make you seem like you're out of touch, right? Me, you, everybody out there who says, hey, trust me, inflation's coming down. But I talked about this the other day. When I go to Subway and it costs me nearly $30 for me and my son to go have a Subway meal, or it costs me $50 to go to Chick-fil-A, things just cost more in when I see the reality than it seems like they should cost in my head.
Yeah, Clay, you nailed it. And this is one of the things that I'm dealing with when I talk to the people across Texas, right? Here, you said it, like crime and border. I think people get that we've delivered on. And I just want to remind people how important that is. You can't just unring the bell once you've created the damage. It takes a little bit of time to go fix all of that. And when it comes to the affordability issue, like remember that some of this is working through a trajectory shift. The trajectory that Donald Trump and that the current Republican Congress is putting the country on is a trajectory of success for our kids and our grandkids. We're talking about unwinding the extent to which we're dependent on China for manufacturing, reclaiming manufacturing in the United States, securing the border, kicking people out who shouldn't be here, making our streets safe again. Like Charlie Kirk, when he talked about what he wanted his daughter to be able to walk down the street safe. He wanted more people to know Jesus. He wanted to have a community that you could know the people next to you. We're trying to rebuild that America and do so while we're growing in AI, but doing it smart. Figure out how we can do the things that we want to so that we have the America for our kids and our grandkids where we're safe, secure, where we have a military. By the way, military, let's take that alone. Recruiting is up. Enlistment is up. The academies are competitive again because people believe it's a place where you want to send your son or your daughter to be able to train up, but also to serve our country. These are all things we should be applauding, running on, and yes, acknowledging openly and honestly with the people of the United States that we have much more work to do to make it affordable. I admit it. I have to go buy those same groceries. It's brutal. And my wife and I have to work through a budget. And guess what? I feel it too. So we've got to keep working through it. But the country's trend, our trajectory, is to a direction of safety, security, sovereignty, strength, confidence, and something you're proud of. And that's what we need to run on.
Breaking news. I'll get your reaction to this on the way out. President Trump has just posted, over the past week, my team has made tremendous progress with respect to ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. I'm summarizing the post that literally he just posted in the last couple of minutes. I am now, he said, in the hopes of finalizing this peace plan, I've directed my special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to meet with President Putin in Moscow. At the same time, Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll will be meeting with the Ukrainians. I'll be briefed on all progress made, along with J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and Susie Wiles. Look forward to hopefully meeting with President Zelensky and President Putin soon. This is President Trump's post he just put up, but only when the deal to end the war is final or in its final stages. He hopes, again, peace can be accomplished as soon as possible. I know there's a lot of things going on. Are you optimistic that President Trump can deliver on trying to get a peace agreement in Ukraine? Again, this just coming down in the last 2 minutes.
If anybody can, the president can. And what I mean by that is he has been committed and resolved to peace since he has been a candidate and since he's been in office, first term and second term. That's been his driving force. Marco Rubio, same thing. I know this because I talked to Marco about this before he was the Secretary of State. These are people who want to end up in a place where we no longer have endless wars, but we have peace. So do I know that this is going to work out? No, I haven't seen the details of it yet. But I go back to my point about trajectory and who do you want running the country? Do you want someone who wants to continue war because you're trying to pursue some fanciful notion of what you think is right for the people of Ukraine? Or do you want to find a way to get this to peace and make sure that we're protecting the boundaries and protecting Eastern Europe while making sure that we are not engaging in endless conflict? I think that's where the president is. I think that's where the American people are. And I think it's critically important that people realize we need to make decisions on geopolitical, questions. We need to make those decisions based on what is good for our country and national security, not on what's good for the pocketbooks of people trading stocks, including members of Congress that are day trading while we're trying to figure out whether or not we should start another war. That's where the American people are. I know this because I represent them.
2 days until Thanksgiving. I'll let you go out on this question. What is your number one draft pick of Thanksgiving dinner? If you could only go one time and you had only one thing to put on your plate, it would be what?
Man, that's a great question, and I'm going to surprise you, but I'm a Texan, and I'm proud of it. My wife literally makes the best of it anywhere in the world. It's fried okra.
Oh, wow. Interesting. You know, my 15-year-old, one of his favorite things in the world, I mean, he will almost get a full plate. Like if you get multiple, if you can get a side at a dinner, he'll say, just give me double fried okra. So that's off the board a little bit, but I think you got a solid pick there.
Yeah, look, you got to I love the traditionals. I mean, I'm a cranberry out of the can guy. I'm a dressing, stuffing. Like my mom makes a traditional cornbread dressing. I love it. I'm a fry the turkey guy. I got the fryer all prepared. We're going to be frying the turkey on Thursday morning. Look, I mean, I love it. You got to have the right gravy. But if you're asking me to pick, I got to have the one thing, man. We make my dad's recipe. My wife makes it, the fried okra, man. I'm living the dream.
All right. Enjoy the games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Football cornucopia of awesome excess. And I hope everybody, including you in the state of Texas, has a great time. We appreciate you, Congressman.
Thanks, Clay. God bless. I'm also pulling for Virginia to beat Virginia Tech on Saturday for only the third time in 26 years. I got to throw that out there, too. But God bless, man. You have a great weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The Cavaliers are into the ACC championship game if they beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech just hired, by the way, my friend James Franklin. I think that's a really good hire for them as well.